On today's episode, we're sitting here by the fire talking all about the idea of conviction and how to essentially sell without selling. Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to Contractor Growth Network. I'm Logan, and I got
Chris Livingston.
And then Brad, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Brad Aker. I own a company called Elevated Solutions, doing some similar stuff that Logan does for roofing contractors.
So what we're doing together, and if you're watching the video of this, we are sitting here at a fire down here in Miami, Florida. And what we've done is, instead of going to a conference that we're part of this mastermind group that is, first of how we got connected, but also, myself and Brad, but also it really helped CGN over the past year. If you started to hear in these podcasts, like shifts and transitions in what we talk about, how we're operating, things like that, this group was a huge part of that. And every quarter they have a new conference, and the conferences are always in Nashville. And just with everything going on, I figured it's safer, instead of going to Nashville for a big conference, I'm going to stream it online, but instead of streaming it in Charlotte, North Carolina in my office, let me get out, let me go somewhere fun to stream it, to still kind of shake up the routine. So came down here to Miami, got a pretty cool Airbnb, and invited some people that are going to, that are in my close circle, that are here to help me level up. I help them level up, and it's like a good overall vibe to it. So that's what we're doing here. That's why we're here. And this whole podcast that we're talking today is this whole transformation of like our own identities, because essentially what happens, what I'm finding in business was, last year was the first year we hit $1 million. The year before that we were at like 580. The year before that like 330 something. So we've had pretty rapid growth. And the big difference each time isn't a new tactic. It isn't a new strategy. It isn't a new this or that. It's truly, I had to essentially redefine who I am, redefine who the company is. Each time we wanted to level up. And by coming to these events, like our goal next year is, or 2021 is 2.5. So even faster growth. And I realized who I was to get to $1 million is not who I'm going to be to get to 2.5. So tonight's conversation is us just jamming on that idea of transformation, identities, all those things that it really takes to become that new person, whether it's something bigger in the business or it's something in your personal life, like you want to become that dad that you never had growing up. You can't just all of a sudden do a couple things, wake the kids up early in the morning and make them breakfast and you're this new person. You have to truly take on this new identity. So that's tonight's talk.
Oh yeah.
I'm super excited, and if you're cool with it, I'd love to kind of play the back and forth with you guys, because you guys right now have totally different businesses in the sense of, just different entities, right? But you guys have a lot of similarities as well, and a lot of the information that we have consistently consumed over the last couple of days has been very relevant for both of you guys. And the most interesting thing for me has been about the idea of conviction. Conviction in what you guys offer, conviction in your own process. I'm not sure right now if we're having planes fly over me right now, so.
Yeah, just keep going. What I find, cross my fingers, is that these things pick up pretty well what you want it to pick up. So hopefully you don't even know what Chris is talking about with the airplane flying over us, but we are in a fly zone.
But yeah, so just kind of getting back to it, right now, especially you, Brad, where has your development and in the idea of conviction over the last couple of days, like where has that gone for you, and like what does that mean for you?
And real quick, while you're answering this, Brad, let me jump in. So Brad does a lot of the same stuff that we do. We focus on remodeling, landscaping, painting contractors. Brad is straight up just a roofing contractor specific, like that's what he does. And then Brad just had his first full year of business, and he did over 600 grand. I hope you're cool with me sharing that, because now it's out there. But in your first year of business, you did, north of $500,000, which is like incredible in itself. So I think everybody listening here, there's a few people that will do that, but they're typically like home builders, because like you have to do one home above that and it makes it worth it. But like there's a lot of people listening to this podcast that have been in business for 15, 20 years and haven't even cracked the $500,000 mark, which is okay, but you did it in your first year. So that's just kind of, as we're speaking, I want you to know the foundation that Brad stands on is not like he's just winging it. He knows what he's doing.
I appreciate that. Some days I feel like it more than others. Logan, I'll give a little shout out, has been a big and just helping guide me along the way. But conviction, yeah, Chris, it's taken on a new meaning at the very least throughout this, but it's also given me clarity on I guess when I say it's taken on a new meaning, I guess what I mean is I can say and claim that I have conviction, but how am I showing it? In my sales process, in the way I lead my team, in the way we communicate with clients, and in the way we communicate with prospects through our marketing and just general messaging. How am I really showing that conviction? And it's something that I've struggled with in the past because admittedly I've been able to grow pretty fast, but there were times where churn rate was pretty rough and all of that as I was just trying to figure it out. And I slowly think I started having trouble knowing. I knew that what we did was good. I knew that what we did was going to give the right people success, but I had miscalculated the right person enough times. And it doesn't mean that we did perfectly, because we can't perform at our best for the wrong person, just like the wrong person can't take as advantage of our services. It's a two-way road. We take a lot of the blame for that. In fact, most of it, because are we letting them into our system? And I think the times that that happened, it just stung a lot. And Logan laughs at me sometimes because he knows I'm an emotional guy. But so it stings a lot when I feel like I maybe had someone come in that it wasn't the right decision for them, even if they did things that if there's things that they could have done differently. So what's the conviction mean? Does it stop when they give me the first check? No. And is it my responsibility to bring the right people into the fold? And if I find those right people, how hard do I push them? And I think what I'm realizing is the answer's pretty hard. As much as I believe in my offer is as hard as I'm going to push the right people into my system. So I know that's kind of heady a little bit, but that's something that for me, it's a massive amount of clarity. It's something that I haven't really done, but it's something that I'm going to be able to take some really big action on. So
let me jump in on that. So what we're talking about with conviction is the idea of conviction is when you sell whatever it is that you sell, you've got two ways of essentially identifying yourself. Either A, you're a contractor that just remodels kitchens or slaps paint on the wall, or B, you're somebody who truly steps into a family's world and completely transforms their life. And when you start to realize that, that's when the frustration towards homeowners goes out the window. Because a lot of times we get frustrated with our own clients a lot. Hey, look, like I want to help you, grow your business, but I can't want your business to grow more than you want your own business to grow. And a lot of contractors do that with homeowners where they're like, look, I want your experience with a contractor and I want your new kitchen to be exactly what you want. However, if you're set on getting the cheapest price, I can't want you to get a good experience more than you want you to get a good experience. And that's where this conviction comes in. Because I remember the first time I heard Grant Cardone talk about this, he said, if you know what you're selling is good for your customer, it is your obligation to get them to do whatever you can to get them to move forward. And at first I heard that, I was like, no, that's stupid. Like, people only buy when they want to buy. But I realized if everybody bought what they needed, like, you wouldn't need salesmen. But that's why you have salesmen, is because a lot of times we don't move forward with things because we're comfortable with where we're at. Even if we're not happy with it, we're comfortable with it, right? I don't know about you guys, but I know for me in college, if I took a course with a teacher first semester and I knew the teacher, I got a C in it. I didn't want a C, but I signed up again because I knew exactly what I was going to get and I was comfortable with that. So when it comes to this idea of conviction, it's really, if you truly care more about your person than you care about your product or process, then it really is, you should do everything you can and you're right to get that client to see it. And I know we all don't want to be spammy or feel salesy or this or that, but the people who are salesy and feel salesy are typically ones that don't sell with conviction, they sell with manipulation.
Yeah.
And you can tell, like, part of the Contractor Sales Academy is it's really big on like what to say and how to communicate with clients, which is amazing. But what a lot of people fail to realize is that if you truly love your person, your homeowner, your client, more than you love the kitchen that you're going to build for them or the roof that you're going to put on their home, then it doesn't matter necessarily what word track or what specific objection handling method you use, because if people can feel that you have their best interest at heart and you're excited for them, not for them to move forward with the project, but for them, then that is going to beat a whole, sales objection handling thing any day of the week.
Yeah. Can I, I'll let you go in a second. Something that's like screaming out at me about this is the role price plays into this. And I think price can get in the way of what should be conviction a lot of the time due to a bad relationship with money or yourself or things like that. But I don't want to like give you the answer because I know that you're probably going to have a better way of answering it than I think you even will. But in your mind, where does price play into that? Because say something is more expensive than they're expecting, what can you do to use conviction without just justifying? Because you don't want to work to justify all the time.
Sure.
You want to work to help them explain within your conviction that this price is set for a reason. So, like, what are your thoughts on that? What's your current approach to that? And what would you suggest the contractors that might be listening's approach?
Chris, you want to tackle this before I jump in?
Yeah, I think that when I hear about the price objection, it's a same adage I always use.
Mm-hmm.
When someone is thinking about the price, when someone is thinking about what they're giving up, if someone is thinking about the money that will be leaving their bank account, the check they have to write, whoever is selling on the other end or the whole process has become a transaction.
Just if you turn your head, Chris, just keep your mic
Gotcha.
with you. Yeah.
I apologize. But yeah, so whatever, and when you're thinking about the stuff about giving up something, when you're focused on all the things you're giving up, all the money you're losing, that is a transaction. That is a transactional sale. What you have to do, what is paramount that you do, is that you change that, and it turns into a transformational sale. When you start to think about all the amazing things that you're going to gain, when you start to think about how your life is going to be immensely different, how it's going to be powerful, how it's going to be great, the memories that you're going to have, the experiences that you're going to gain, that means that you have now gone into a transformational sale. So, yes, price is a factor only when it's a transaction. But people do not buy off of numbers. People do not buy off of logic. People buy off of emotion. And when I have the emotion of the amazing kitchen that I'm going to have, if I have the emotion of not having to worry about that leak above my head, if I have the emotion of peace of mind, then money is minuscule when it comes to, okay, to solve that problem, to make me feel this way, to give me this memories, I only have to do this. It's simple. So that is very much how I tackle that problem on an everyday basis in my sales career.
So with this price thing, as well said, Chris, I actually got asked this in a sales call the other day. Logan, if people buy with emotion, then why does money stop them? And what I talked about was the only way that somebody's going to buy something is emotion, okay? However, what happens is emotion works in many ways. You have the emotion of excitement for them to move forward with a new kitchen or a new backyard living space, whatever it is. Now, if the money piece is way more than they are thinking of spending or more than they have, there's a negative emotion associated with giving up that much money. So you have if you think of almost like, I wish I could do it with like both my hands, but it's like, going one way is this happy emotion and going the other way is this negative emotion of having to give up money. And when they join forces, and they touch, which one's going to win out? Is the emotion of the happiness of the new kitchens more, or is it the emotion behind not having that money in the bank account?
Yeah.
that is where that price factor comes in. So when it comes to what you're selling with conviction, it's really down to if you are doing everything you can and you know that they can feel how excited you are for the project, and you know that they fully trust you and they fully understand why you're doing what you're doing and that you are the best option for them. However, if they are going to be so worried about the money, and like for us, like I'm like, if people are like, I don't have the money but I can like take it out on a credit card, like I know our stuff works so well that if they work it, it's game on, and like you'll pay it back very fast. However, I tell people, look, if the stress involved with taking money out on credit is too high, that even if this stuff is working, you're staying up all night long, this is not worth it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to move forward, because I don't want you worried about all this stuff, because part of our strategy is you need to have confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You need to roll up as like the fucking leader in your area, and people can feel if you don't feel like that. And if you roll up all nervous because if you mess up this sale, you have stuff out on credit, like, and you know it's like, oh no, the world's ending, like it's not worth it because it's not going to work as well. But if you're like, yeah, I'll make it work, I'll take this thing out on a loan, I'll do this or that, like this stuff works and it will work for you. So there is that conviction piece. However, when it comes to price, if it's too much and somebody's going to have that negative reaction, or they're going to feel like they're losing out or this or that, then that's where that overcomes any positive emotion that it takes to move forward with you.
I got one for y'all. Conviction in your sales process transfers your abundance to your prospect.
Say that one more time because I like that.
Conviction in your sales process transfers your abundance to your sales prospects.
So let's take it a step back even more. Conviction in your marketing and your branding transfers that abundance to a sales call. Mm-hmm. Conviction in a sales call. I do this with I talked about this with Tyler, one of our sales reps, the other day. There's this thing called the Columbus principle, but essentially what you're doing is you're trying to lead or guide somebody down the right path. But instead of telling them, hey Brad, if you do this, this, and this, you're going to be really rich, you ask questions that are kind of redundant questions, but you guide them there. But what I was trying to do with him was, he's having a tougher time. He's like 21 years old. He's brand new at the sales thing. He's learning it all. And he's just kind of getting down on himself because, think about you. If you're listening to this, the first time you ever did sales, you probably have a really good product and you stand behind that, but you don't actually know how to say the right things. You're just like hoping like hell that you don't mess anything up. And with him, I know how powerful what we offer, like how much it works. So I'm trying to transfer my confidence in the product into him being able to sell that. So I'm guiding him through this. I'm saying things like, all right, man, like if this thing could change every life that you talk to, how willing are you to hop on the phone? Well, a lot more. Okay. And if you're more willing to hop on the phone with people, what is going to happen to the amount of closes or the amount of sales that you make? Well, it's going to go up. Okay. And the amount of sales that go up, what happens to your bank account? Well, it goes up. And when your bank account goes up, what happens to my bank account? Well, it goes up. And when my bank account goes up, I can hire more people to get our message out to help more people. And what happens to the number of people that we can actually help and get them back with their kids, so their kids grow up with a full supportive family? What happens to that number? He's like, it goes up. So it's this full circle approach but it all stems from the top. It all stems from you as the leader of the organization. If your people don't have it, then when they're working in someone's home or working in someone's yard, the homeowners are going to feel it. But if they understand why you're doing what you're doing, that energy, it starts with you because it's your company, it's your product, it's your livelihood at first. But when you can transfer them down to the people will transfer that over to the clients, and the clients will transfer it to their friends, which comes back to you. So it's this full circle. Yeah. And this is how referrals work. But it all leads off with conviction, aka when people talk to you about what it is that you do, they don't hear it, they feel it.
Love it.
Conviction, simply put, simply defined, is an unwavering belief. An unwavering belief. An unwavering belief in our situations that our shit works. Mm-hmm. An unwavering belief that, like, legitimately, right now, like, this is not fabricated, this is not fluff, this is straight from, like, my heart, this is straight conviction. We are the number one company for residential contractors in producing pre-qualified leads.
Keep your mic.
There's no one out there who can do what we do. There is not a process that is similar to ours. There is no one who competes in this space. So when it comes to the idea of getting people pre-qualified leads, I know that there's no one out there to do this for people, and I know the power of pre-qualified leads. I recognize that when you have a lead that's been pre-qualified through your own system, you're not spending that time running around with the wrong people. I also recognize that there's a huge frustration with using third-party, lead sources and having a dependency on them for your leads. Recognizing sometimes you have people who are just looking for pricing, people who are looking to get pricing for insurance so they can be able to file some claim or whatever it may be. But you now as a contractor are reaping the negative benefits from that. That's why I have so much conviction with our offer. So I have an unwavering belief that our shit works and it's the best thing out there. And that's just point blank period, right? And that, when I'm able to truly believe that in my soul, I can go out and speak to people, be cognizant to understand what their situation is, to have candid conversations with them, to find out if we are a good fit for them. And if we are a good fit, I'm gonna fight like hell to make sure that they are taken care of. In the sales process, there's 3 rules. 1, you have one rule of always do the best thing for your client. 2, the best thing for your client is almost always outside of their comfort zone. And rule 3 is people will fight like hell to stay inside of their comfort zone. So my conviction has to overcome that extreme fight that they have to stay inside their comfort zone. So my conviction has to put holes in what their thoughts are, with things that they have confidence in, things that they're ignorant about, things that they are maybe arrogant about. My conviction has to override all that, and I have to be a force and not force people.
I like that.
So Brad, let's think about what Chris just said. So Chris is saying, making this claim of we're the best in the world, and I don't think most people don't that's, we have this idea of hubris and be humble and this and that. However, that only gets you so far, because that's something that I've had to personally overcome, where it's I downplay a lot of the stuff that I do because I just think oh, nobody wants to hear it, or that's braggadocious, and you're taught to be calm and quiet. But in your thoughts, Brad, is that cocky what Chris is saying? Is it cocky for contractors out there to say, look, we are literally the best option for most people in our area for the services that we provide? Is that a cocky thing?
So I think the answer would be, for the wrong client, it is cocky, and for the right client, it's just what they need to hear. And I think that it's kind of what I was going back to earlier is just correct me if I'm wrong. Are there people that are the wrong people for what you offer?
100%.
And
So
those are
for
the
that
people-
person, are you the number one source
No.
for pre-qualified leads? So I think that it's about who you're talking to in your audience, but I do think that you are that person for your clients, and you are that person for the people that should be your client. And I think that that's where the conviction is necessary. And I think transferring this to contractors, you are able to provide the best experience for a group of people. The worst thing is when you're on the discovery. I'm sure you've had this too. When you're on a discovery call, you're really trying to dig in, and then you say, so who is your ideal customer?
So the discovery call been a sales call, or they already bought?
They already bought.
Okay.
Who is your ideal customer? Who is this? And then they just say, well, in my case, we'll put a roof on anybody.
Yeah, anybody that has money.
Yeah, anybody that has money. It's well, what about? And they're well, I guess we really like this gated subdivision and stuff like that. It's man, you're really missing it. And then having to explain it, sometimes it's really, really hard to get out of them what that is, and sometimes it's almost impossible. I think something that is important for contractors to begin really looking at and it will help them get these pre-qualified leads, is to get an idea of who they even want to be pre-qualified, because pre-qualification process is a filter. So in order to have a filter that's built right, you have to know who you want in and who you want out. So I think that's something that isn't thought about too much in the contractor industry. And I think, once again, going back to the word I used a little bit earlier, I think it comes back to abundance versus scarcity.
A lot of the people, so we have these kickoff calls, which is, whenever you move forward with us, the first thing that we do is before we build your website, we are going to dive really deep into everything, right? Like, on these calls, what is, I guess at first it was kind of crazy, but then it just kind of became normal. Contractors will cry. Like, they will start to tear up because of how deep we get into how helpful they really are with people in the community, and they are with their own families. And I think that's something that's very different, because when I see that, and I've sent you, like, we do recordings of it, and I'll send you one.
I was wide-eyed the whole time.
Yeah, I'm like this is who you have to love. Contractors, just to make it blunt, a lot of them are very hard on the outside, soft on the inside. Good people, but you just build up this wall, and that's how a lot of homeowners are as well. Now, I come from, with my dad being in the pond world, that is a very, very emotional world. It's like 20% of the people that, after you build them a koi pond and you plug, what they do, God, my dad's really good. He's a really good showman, like really good showman. They won't turn the waterfall on. They'll wait, because you build the whole thing. Before you plug it in, turn it on, they say, go get the homeowner, bring him out here for the big reveal, right? So this is like, think of like Ty Pennington. Move that bus, and they move it, and the family cries. Well, 20% of the time when they plug it in, the person cries, like just bawls their eyes out. And then I see that, and I'm just like, okay, Dad, like, now next time you talk to somebody and they want to go with somebody cheaper, they want to do it, whatever it is, whatever the reason is, I want you to remember that 20% of the people that you help cry. The other 80% are speechless. Which, if you leave all your people speechless, and that's like, this one was only speechless, they didn't cry, like, that's who you're helping. So if you imagine that on every single call you go into, you're going to help so many more people. It's unbelievable. And if they can feel that, it's game on. So a lot of this stuff, it's so fun. Like, I think a lot of people start listening to these podcasts. And we made a pretty big shift in the past, 8 months. We used to talk a lot about tactics. Hey, do this on your Facebook ads. Hey, do this in your Google. Hey, do this on your website. But guess what people would do? Well, that's interesting. I'm not going to do that, though. Too hard. Doesn't work for me. What it doesn't matter.
Don't have the time.
Yeah, there's so many different reasons why you don't. So instead of focusing on that, we started focusing on the concepts. Who do you need to become to get to that next level? Who do you need to become at home so your kids know who the fuck their dad is growing up? Things like that is what we started to focus on. And guess what happened in our own business? We grew. People started going, I align with that. They didn't align with us telling them the difference between, using Facebook Ads Manager versus boosting a post, because that was just a simple tactic that nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, well, that's neat.
You even go further than tactics and strategies. You go into
who you are as a person, as a man.
And how that translates to your business.
Completely different. And we're doing a whole podcast about conviction and identities and this and that. But, there's a reason that we're all here in Miami having fun, watching this conference, and we're going to walk out of here with a huge ROI.
Go make more money.
Yeah. We're good because we know what we're doing. We're confident in it.
Sorry.
I'm done.
I'd like to ask Chris a question, because I noticed Logan and I, until recently, have been the online friends that many of us have had. My wife sometimes makes jokes. She's like, I'm pretty sure you're getting catfished by at least one person. And it's different, but hey.
We should take a picture and send it to your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
He's real. He's not as tall as I thought he was, but he's real.
but what I want to know, Logan's just lying. He's 6'5". So what I want to ask Chris, because I noticed this in my conversations with Logan, we talk pretty often, is after the last event, last quarter, what changed in your mind when Logan came back from that? Because I think that maybe it wasn't put into words like it has been at this event, but I feel like that's, in my mind, Logan came back with conviction in a bigger way. So how did that affect everything? And what's it look like from your viewpoint?
So I'm, ex-military and all that good jazz. So I have a soft spot in my heart for leadership. Leadership is so important to me. And when Logan came back from last event, Logan came back with a fire. Logan came back with a huge abundance of leadership within him. Logan came back with a drive, and he put that drive in every single member of that team. And that came in, I believe, from the outside of Logan's mind, I believe that Logan thought, maybe surface level, of, hey, this is really affecting me. Me finding my own why is affecting me, and I'm going to be more fulfilled in this situation. But no, we had clear guidance at the time. We had clear marching orders. We had clear understanding of what the hell we were supposed to do. As a salesperson, I knew what I was supposed to do. Melissa, as an awesome website designer, she knew exactly what she was supposed to do. Turner, a copywriter, knew what he was supposed to do. Laura, badass on marketing, she knew exactly what she was supposed to do, right? So we all knew what our why was. Our leader came back and told us, hey, our why is to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to help contractors save time so they can spend that time where it matters most. We went a layer below contractors, and it was about their families. It was about their spouses, about giving back to them. And so this conviction that you hear right now in my voice came back because Logan came back, and that was permeated to us.
Yeah.
So from a leadership perspective, it's like how I would imagine if I was on a crew, and I'm on a crew, and I got a general contractor as a boss, and we're trying to just make sure that he's trying to make sure we stay busy, and we appreciate that, right? But 1 week we're doing kitchen, next week we're doing a bath, the next week you're doing a home addition, the next week we're doing waterproofing a home, and then we go back to a kitchen, and it's a lot of different things. Yeah, we can get them done, but it's a lot of different things, and I just kind of wish that we it's the same grind. We have a full understanding of what we're supposed to do. Logan came back and said, hey, we're going to be the best damn kitchen builder this side of Mississippi, and we're going to freaking do it, right? And so we had that understanding of who we helped, how we helped, and the impact that it made after providing that. So that's what I think that we really got from Logan, and how he changed that situation, because he came back with a clear mind as far as what he provided. And I mean, I say this jokingly sometimes, but when we reached $1 million as a company, we the team, and I'm saying outside of Logan, we were like, let's go do this for Logan. Let's 100%, we're going to help out contractors. We're doing awesome things. We love it. But let's go help more people so that we can help Logan accomplish a goal. And I think he kind of downplayed it a little bit. $1 million, yeah, it's great to be $1 million company and whatnot. When you're selling, a $10,000 offer, it's pretty cool to be $1 million company. But we were driven beyond, belief. And granted, I've have, as an ex-ranger in the military, I feel like I have a lot of drive, got a lot of conviction, I got a lot of passion about stuff. But I saw people, and it was probably my first time post-military to see people of a team have a strong drive towards a goal in that way, that I did not know that was kind of, I would say I was ignorant to the idea that it being that possible outside of that realm of where life and death is kind of at play, or where freedom's at play. This what we but Logan came back and gave us those same vibes, those same feels, and I was very appreciative of that.
That's amazing. You mind if I take the role of question asker one more time for
go
you.
ahead.
You ready?
Yeah, hit me.
So, Logan, you came back, and he touched on it with realizing that it's about the contractor's family.
Yeah.
But you told me something, and I hope I'm not overstepping, but did you maybe see a little bit, think about your childhood and see that you maybe were building that within your own business in some ways?
Yeah, so to kind of play on that, my dad had, if this is the first time you listen to this is the first time you're hearing it. If not, you've probably heard this a bunch. My dad has started and sold a couple different really successful high earning businesses. And the first one, he was never home, right? He built, it was in the 80s and 90s, he got to the largest, it was a pool management company, but it was the largest one in North America, right? And apparently, and I don't remember any of this, but apparently he just was never there, right? Up until the age of 5, he was always working. During the busy season, it was 100 hours a week. During the off season, it was 60 hours a week, right? Imagine off season at 60. So apparently what would happen is he would wake up early in the morning, he would come home, very late at night. So as kids, you don't ever see him. And the only time that I would ever see him was I would get driven out to the job site, right? I would go to the job site, have lunch, that was that. I don't remember any of it. What I do remember was I remember specifically being in the car one time with my family and asking my mom questions about my dad. And my mom was like, your dad's right here, just ask him. But I guess we were so used to him not being there that we just didn't know what to say. And then he completely flipped and became Mr. Mom. Now, he and I just went together to Tennessee, spent a few days together, and what I realized with him was, and he was the one that brought this up, I remember this, he's not an angry guy or abusive or anything like that, but if we were late for anything, he would just scream. I remember one time my first tooth when it fell out, it was right before we had to leave for school. I was in kindergarten or something like that. I was so afraid to tell him because I thought he was going to scream at me because we were going to be late, that I remember I lied to him. And what happened was he didn't know how to raise kids because he was never there. So he had to actively learn, well, my 2 younger brothers don't remember any of that. Dad never yelled. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
He spanked us and stuff, but he never yelled. And I'm and my older sister and I'm Amanda, do you remember Dad yelling? And she was yeah, he anytime we were late, he would scream. So he learned how to become a dad. But a lot of people, they don't make that transition because they're so used to always being gone that when they finally get their life back, it's too late. We have a client right now that we're building a website for, and he was like, Logan, my dad was a contractor for 25 years. He was never home. I grew up, I was a contractor. I've been in business for 25 years. I was never home for my kids. He's like, I want that to end. He's like, I do not want my 26th year of business to look like my first 25. Let's go. And it was amazing because that was the transformation that he's like, I'm in, let's go. So what I'm setting out to do is make sure that these kids, because I talk about this in our meetings, our client is not the contractor. Our client is your kids. That is really who we're here to help. And I don't have this story of my dad was never home because I don't remember when he wasn't there before 5, but I know what my life is like because he's in the picture and he's supportive and we had money in the family. They didn't give us everything we wanted, but we didn't need for anything. And we have a very loving family. And that only happened because he came home and he was present. So what I'm setting out to do is, and I think I actually have the advantage here where I don't say, well, because I had a bad childhood, I want to help everybody else not have that. I see the benefit of having that support system.
Yeah.
So now I'm I want everybody to have that support system because if your kid wants to grow up and be a complete dickhead, that's on them. But that shouldn't be your fault. You should give them everything in your power, your conviction, to make sure that they're able to make their own choices and go their own path. And that's what we're here to do, is to allow kids to have that opportunity.
I love that.
So that's why we drive. That's why we push it. That's why we've been pretty relentless with stuff. That's also why we've grown, because now we understand the power of, because every single one of us in in our company, everybody's got very close families. Nobody has this, I don't really talk to my dad. Alex, like that dude, like he talks to his dad every single day. Like everybody's got very, very close families, so it's easy for us to understand who we're working for. So that was a big shift that I realized coming back from this conference. I was like, wow, like I've been doing it all wrong. Like I've been trying to tell contractors that we'll get them more leads. Guess what contractors don't want more of? They don't want more leads. They want better leads, and they want leads that they can talk to when they're at home with their kids, so they can watch their kids grow up. At this conference or this event in Tennessee with my dad, or not event, I'm sorry, hanging out, Derek, who's my dad's business partner in the Contractor Sales Academy, was like, Steve, give me like a defining moment in your life. And he was like, this is going to sound crazy, but it's actually when I got to watch Logan, because I won, I was a diver in college, I watched Logan win the conference championships, the ACCs. And he was like, I remember that as soon as it was like the pressure was building. I was like, the guy who usually wins everything, who was there, he got like bronze in the Olympics, so he's like really good. I was fully expecting to go in there, maybe get second or third, but he was like not having a good meet. And I remember I was going against somebody else from Florida State, and it came into the last dive, pressure was on, I had to hit a certain score, and I remember walking up there like, I got this shit, and I hit it, nailed it, ripped it, no splash. And as soon as it flashed up on the score, and what was funny was there was a delay, right? The way that judging works in diving is they hit a button on like their electronic keypad, and it flashes up on the big Megatron screen. Well, there was like an issue with it, so there was like a minute delay, and everybody's waiting on this. And as soon as it hits and it shows that I won, my dad said he just immediately burst out into tears because he remembers back to his childhood that when he won, because he was a diver as well, when he won the state championships, his grandfather, because his dad was, my dad's dad, so my grandfather was unbelievably abusive towards my dad, and he would never go to the meets. Well, my dad's grandfather went there, and as soon as my dad won, he started crying because of how happy he was. So he said, as soon as I watched Logan win this, I immediately thought back to me as a 12-year-old boy, and my grandfather was there crying for me because of how proud he was of me. So it was a combination of both those things. And if my dad still had that old job where he was never there, he would not have been around to watch me do that. And that was a defining moment in his life. And that was 10 years ago at this point, and he's 63, 64. So think of that as a defining moment at the age of 54.
Yeah.
But that's the specialness that I have with my family, that if other families can have that, like think about that impact. Like why would I not want to follow up with somebody a million times and say, look, you want to watch your kid go out and win fucking ACCs and cry because of how proud you are? That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Hire us. No, I love it. I love it. And it's so amazing. And I mean, I wasn't at that event, and Logan told me and kind of gave me the rundown. And Logan's he's got emotion too, but he wears it differently than a lot of people that have the emotion. But the way, like, it really was like a night and day, like the way he spoke about it, so much less calculated, more from the heart. And it gave me, like, I don't know if I really have like actually told you this, but it gave me like this wake-up call, because my wife, who is best thing that ever happened to me, and we're here in Miami having a blast, but I miss her a lot. But she has been sick throughout our time being married. She has rheumatoid arthritis, and it's been difficult. She's had some pretty major surgeries, multiple. She's had some radiation, chemotherapy type of stuff, which people don't know is a treatment for this, but it is when it's extreme. So it's been hard, and it's, I think, in my mind, part of what kind of helped me like just push in a different way than I think some of my peers have and some people. But I realized, like, man, he said something, and it was like, this is so big, because my wife and I, like, we're not closer than ever before right now. Like, we're not just like reveling in how awesome this is and what we're building together and all of that. Like, in fact, our relationship, I'm not going to say was struggling. It wasn't in jeopardy or anything like that. But she asked me one time, like very soon before you said this, it's just strange timing, man. But she said to me, in an argument, I feel like you pick your business over me. And it broke my heart, partially because I was like, no, that's not, I would never do that. But I thought about it, and it was like, at the very least, in my actions I have. And I've been telling myself, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for you. And I thought about it more. I was like, yeah, but there's no destination. I hit 100,000 a month. What's next? I hit 200,000 a month. Like, when am I going to stop? Like, my personality's not this content personality. Like, I'm not going to be happy at one level. I'm not going to hire that one person that makes my life just completely a breeze. So I just have to set rules, and I have to build things in my life, and I have to set boundaries. And that's kind of was just such a massive moment for me, and something that I think goes in line with what you're saying a lot. So, I mean, I don't mean to steal your thing, but that's, people get so stuck in the hustle mode and the hustle mode and the hustle mode. And the thing that's even worse about a lot of contractors is they get stuck in the hustle mode and they're still not making that much.
Yeah,
like, they're still not crushing it.
Yeah, like there's a difference of like the Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Stuff, like you work 90 hours a week, but you're the richest guy in the world,
Yeah.
versus you work 90 hours a week and everybody's struggling.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, you think there's some destination, but at the end of the day, like, when I started setting boundaries and stuff, and this is just from my personal experience, and it was a lot because of that conversation with my wife, but a lot from what Logan said. But when I started setting more boundaries, when we started going on dates every Wednesday, when I started really, really making sure I wasn't on my phone all the time, it was so huge for me because I was able to show up better as a leader within my company.
Yep.
And like that, I think, is something that people don't think about, like how important it is for you to feel balanced in your life, and not necessarily balanced in your work-life balance and stuff, but balanced just like feel like you're giving as much as you're getting in your relationship, feel like you're getting as much as you're giving in your business with your employees, your clients, and all that. That is possible. It's not easy, and it's always like there's always plates spinning around, but that's just was huge for me. So just want to publicly say thank you for giving me a little bit of a wake-up call there, even if you didn't realize it.
No, it's all good, because I mean, I had to have the revelation, and again, if I know there's somebody else out there that needs it, whether they know they need it or not, it's my obligation to at least bring them to the trough. If they want to drink, they can drink, but I'm gonna do everything I can to get them there. So I appreciate you saying that.
No, I appreciate you, dude.
Good. Chris?
Let's take a break. Let's take a break and do a round two. Let's do a round two.
Okay.
Of this, if you're down for that. And
Yeah, we'll get another glass of wine, charge these phones up, go again.
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll end this one. Chris, give us a good outro on this one.
All right. So at the end of the day, you have to have an unwavering belief that what you do has a greater impact than just the surface level. And when you hold on to, well, first of all, when you discover that impact and when you really lean into it, you will then be able to allow that to transfer throughout your entire process as far as marketing and sales. You're able to allow that to transfer to your team, and maybe most importantly, to the idea of putting money in your pocket. You're going to allow that to transfer to your customer. So might as well start now.
All right, guys.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Stay tuned for round two. And in the meantime, go ahead if you want to, really like jam with us and hang out more. Head over to Common Sense Contracting for the on our Facebook group. It's called Common Sense Contracting. More pre-qualified leads, fewer objections, higher profits. That's our jam. See you guys in the next episode. Thank you.
See ya.